Hey young guys, so welcome back to NZ Marko Kustoms again. So, got some gifts from Outlaw Garage. Turned up yesterday. This actually said at the end of the video yesterday that I thought it was from them, but I hadn't got home. So this is one of those, I've never had one of these before, which is one of those step drill bits. So this will be really freaking handy. I'm not sure. Just trying to think. It doesn't really actually say what sizes it is all on there anyway. But it might say on here, does it? Oh, it does. So it goes from, is it quarter? It goes from quarter to inch and 3/8 step drill bit. So that'll be bloody handy. So that'll probably end up, might even just end up putting a bullet drill. So it's in there, so I can just, if I want a hole out to whatever, we can just take it out to whatever. And this is a riv nut tool. This is obviously all off Amazon, so it's got a heap of riv nuts. I think it's 10 of each, I think. So at some point I will get some extras. So I've got some more. How much I will use these big buggers, these are 1/2 inch. Yeah, 1/2 inch ones. That must be coarse or 13, whatever, however you guys look at it. But these will be really handy for doing, obviously, different odd jobs. Want to put in a nut or a fixture in somewhere, especially on something where I'm, probably a bit like the other day. Like probably could have put one in there. That would have been quite handy. But yes, sometimes it's just as easy to weld enough in the back. But if I'm doing anything on some of these old cars that I need something, or if I'm doing a bit of custom work more than a restoration, these will be really handy. Or if I want to doing something for myself, because I've got that 37 Nash that I'm hoping to drag home shortly. Now that I've got my shed cleared out a bit. But yeah. So again, thanks William or Bill or however you. I've heard some people call you William. I've heard some people call you Bill, I think. So yeah, absolutely awesome. Thanks, Outlaw Garage. Greatly appreciated. Will come in very handy. So we'll carry on. Got to grind up some welds here. I might have to touch up a few. And we'll get that back corner in. Make the other piece, which I've got sitting here, put the tape on it. We'll cut that out, get that shaped up. Yeah, and then we might have a straighten up and get a lot of this bigger panel steel that I'm not going to be using quite so much of now. I'll probably put it back over here where this sheet here was, over there against the wall. And then I can get the chassis back here maybe tomorrow, depending on how I get on in here today. Yeah, I'd like to get it home so I can get it cleaned up and start putting it back together, if you know what I mean. Because it's got a few loose rivets and whatever, and I got a couple of broken bolts to get out of it. And so, anyway, we'll get to it. Righty. I just learned something. This little trolley that had the welder and plasma cutter on for quite a while. The owner's son of the shed with the Studebaker dropped it off one day, and I didn't even look at it, to be honest. He'd already made the little bracket thing to hold the bottle and whatever, and come with caster wheels, and I don't know where it even come from. But I was thinking, oh man, I'm sick of frickin' when I go to drag it round. It's got no handle or anything to pull it around with. And I said, oh, I'll just make up a little bracket and weld it on and make a handle out of a bit of that tube that I actually had through here. You know, I'll just make up a handle out of that. And I was like, no, I'll go to grind the front of it to clean it up. I'm like, the hell? It's fucking plastic. So I was like, well, that fucks that there. I'm not welding anything to it, am I? So I might have to put a frickin' bolt or something down through here I can attach this to, because I thought I'll just quickly bend up something and just fucking buzz her on, but apparently not. Right, let's see if we can get this patch made to fit in here. The centre piece. Obviously we got the outer piece made. Now they've finally cleaned up and I've made my rough quick handle. After I've discovered the base was made out of plastic, or whatever you want to call it. So, I'm going to build this piece in here. It's quite curving, isn't it? How am I going to do this? Righty, so I forgot to turn the camera back on. I was talking to William from Iron Horse and I forgot to turn the video back on. But anyway, I'll try and show you when I do the other side. So basically, to make this piece, all I did, I got the rough angle of this to fit here, drilled a hole in here, drilled a hole in here eventually, bolted this up tight. I drilled a hole through here and put a coach bolt through it because it kept pulling the tech screw out, put a tech screw in here once I sort of got it tucked in, and I just beat the pus out of it and just stretched it. I used a combination of this because it's really, you can get in there nice and tight, and this one here, because I made it quite rounded, and this is obviously fairly rounded that way, so you can sort of get in there and beat it to whatever place you want. And then I just started hammering this edge over a little bit, because when I take it off to put underneath here, I will actually bend it hard round, because it's underneath here, it's got a hard edge, but I just wanted to start it kinda. So yeah, we're basically at the place where we're almost ready to put that on, I guess, on, and do a little bit of probably a little bit more hammer and dollying on this big old freaking thing over here. I need to make myself some post dollies. See if I can find some old some more dollies around somewhere. I don't know where, without buying brand new ones, if you know what I mean. Unless I can find a couple of cheap sets and weld some hunks of steel underneath them. This actually works really good. It's a post dolly because it's so big, but it's not. Sometimes it's not the right shape, but it's not too bad for just planishing something out, which I've done a couple of times on this, because it got pretty lumpy and bumpy, and then I sort of beat it back out smooth again. I probably really need to do it again, because I just wowed on it a bit more with this, just to get it to stretch into there. But it actually looks pretty, it's not too bad for shape actually. I'm pretty happy. I haven't tested that back on there yet. I'm not too panicked just yet, but it's kind of where we're at, so I'm pretty close, pretty happy with that. I think if we come along and hammer that edge over, well, you know, basically 90 or close to it, not too worried about if it's not here, and then we can come along and we can weld this onto here and cut off any excess we don't need. I just hammered it over, whether we use this or we leave this piece and just butt it in somewhere, I don't know. I haven't decided that yet, but yeah. And I tell you what, I don't know why I never bought a step drill before. And it's so fucking handy, because when I drilled those holes in for those bolts, I was like, oh, you know, like I sort of had it a decent size, I don't know, whatever size it was, 1/2 inch or whatever, and I was like, oh, I'll just take it out one more. I just walk over there, bang it through one more. You're not looking for another drill bit, so it's good. And you can go out, I don't know what I'd say that was, inch and 3/16 or whatever it is. That's a big freaking hole. So that's going to be handy if I want to drill a decent sized hole in something. Because I got a 3/4, that's the biggest normal drill bit I got, but that's so freaking handy. Like, I wouldn't punch through heavy plate with it, but it's absolutely awesome for panel steel. So yeah, but worked out perfect for just opening these holes up a bit to a half decent size, so I had a little bit of wiggle room. And yeah, we just beat it in submission. And it's coming here with this here. If you can ever find yourself a little one of these, freaking so handy. All these little bits just beaten into here, and then you can come back if you want a little bit more, a slightly bigger end, and then obviously you can jump up to something a bit bigger. So yeah, well worth. If you can find yourself one of those, grab one. If you find it at a local freaking garage sale or swap meet or something like that, you haven't got one of those, get one if you find it. Wouldn't want a couple more, you know, different sizes. But it's one of those things you just got to keep hunting for. But that's that patch pretty much made. So I think tomorrow we'll get that burned in, which shouldn't take too long, or I might just jump over to the other side and start making all this stuff. And then when I'm ready, I might burn the whole lot of them together. We'll see. But I'm pretty happy with how this fits now. So that's awesome. But anyway, I think we'll call it here for the day. I wasted a lot of time cleaning up, but it needed to be done. It was a bit of a pain in the ass before that. But it's good to get that shit cleaned up and out of here. At least tomorrow I'll better grab that trailer and I'll bring that chassis back too at some point. Alright, I'll catch you later on. Cheers. Alrighty, so I got my cupboard down here. I had to drill the lock out. I couldn't get into it otherwise. It's unfortunate, but what is it? No, it doesn't matter, I suppose, in the end of the day. Just would have been nice to be able to lock it if I wanted to. So I'll slowly get more organised in here. If you wouldn't mind putting a little rod in here or something like that to hang these roll papers on, just so I can, I don't know, maybe slip it in there and then hook it over something. Just, you know, to reel the paper off when I want to, pull a bit off or whatever. Or I'll just pull it out on the bench, doesn't matter. So I got sandpapers and cups and tape and whatever else in there, and I've got a couple of books in there. I'll put some more books up in there as well. They can paint, can go down the bottom, and mixes and whatever can go in there. So yeah, I'll get it eventually sorted, but that's what I wanted it for. At least it'll keep it clean. That shit's not going to get covered in crap anymore, which kind of annoys me. But anyway, I'm on my way home because it's 6:30 and I've been back here twice. Since once to get the drill because we couldn't find the keys, but yeah, anyway, we'll go home and have some tea. Right, morning guys. So, halfway through a video, I managed to keep up at the moment. So I've got a couple of videos ahead. I got them all scheduled, so about yesterday's videos, yeah, it was only about half a video-ish. I didn't do a lot on film, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so I think what we'll do is we'll get this patch off down here. Get this lip turned over, put this patch over that one, make sure it's fitting right, and then we'll mark out where we want to cut off the crap off this piece at the back edge. We'll get that welded onto there. I wasn't gonna put it on, but I think I'll do. I'll get this burned in, or at least tacked on, and make sure it's fitting properly. Double check that on there before we put it on fully, and then we might jump over to that side before we fully burn it all in and weld it all on 100%, if you know what I mean. Because none of this is welded on properly, it's all tacked, screwed and just bolted in place at the moment. But I think we'll get it trimmed off, at least spotted on fairly solid. Put this over top, get that trimmed and fitting 100%, and then we can jump to that side. I just want to do a double test fit with this overlapped properly and this without this sitting up quite so much. Make sure it still fits nice, and then we can jump to the other side. We can always fill it a little bit with some body filler if it's, you know, like a little bit of discrepancy, but I'm not, you know, I don't want to be going and then putting freaking quarter of an inch or half an inch of body filler in to fix something. I'd rather move something and reshape something than do that. But that's why I want to just get this into the right place exactly. Sit that with the overlap the other way and make sure we are happy, and then we'll jump to the other side. So first things first, we'll get this edge bent over 90 so it can go underneath all these panels, and we'll go from there. Right, we'll just turn the camera around so it's a bit more open shot. Down a little bit. Right, we'll get this off and bend this edge over it. have a nut thread. That's the right thread. 5, 16, 18. And if this is a bit coarse or fine. So I'm used to working with coarse and fine, not the amount of threads per inch. So I'm not sure. It looks like coarse. Or is it fine? Might be fine. So there those bolts, but I don't know. That's us. Fucking awesome. So yeah, we might try one of these in there and see how it works. Try the riv nut in that piece. It's worth a shot, eh? Why not? Anyway, I'm not going to use it right now, but at least I know it's ready to go. Might just... I don't really need the plastic bag anymore. At some point I'll get a little fucking box or something to put all these little bits in, all the nuts. Find something to put them in. Might go grab one of those little, you get those little assortment boxes. You get them in here. But these little baggies have got labels on them. That's half ready to go. I'll carry on back over here now. Right, I'll start that again. So we'll knock the worst of the weld off both sides, and we'll start stretching this into here, get that welded on, and then we'll Start stretching this to make that here, hopefully, and go from there. Right, now I've had a break and I've let my phone charge up a little bit because I didn't have it plugged in before. So I'm going to pull that guard back off, put the couple of bolts back in, we'll cut some excess off. Well, we'll just cut and butt that, get it sitting in nice. We'll start tacking that in and then we'll go from there. Righty, I think I'm ready to start welding at least some of it in. So we finished welding that up. I added that little piece of steel in there that I forgot. It's a bit rough, but it should be right. By the time I seal it all up, nobody will freaking know. So yeah, I sandblasted the inside of it, that side of it and this side of it, and then I quickly run over it with one of those Scotch-Brite wheels just to get anything else off, give it a rough up. And so I just weld through primed that side of it, let it dry for a few minutes, and then I'll blow around the edge. I should only have to do around this top or bottom edge. Then we can set it in place. We can start welding that on, and then I'll give this a quick clean up in a minute. We'll blow a bit of weld through on there, and then we'll lay that over top once I've got this other piece welded in. I'm not going to worry about them just in the meantime. I will, but I can do that at any time, but I would like to put a bit of pressure in from behind or something like that and just reshape that a little bit when it comes up against those pieces, against these holes. Make sure that we are nice and tidy in behind, because that one sits a bit queer. So we'll do them afterwards, but we'll get it all welded onto here and whatever, and you know what I mean? We'll get that all sorted. And at least then, just trying to work out. Are these holes uncovered? Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. I was just thinking, shit, are those? Yeah, but they are open at this back side. I was just wondering if they were open because they're actually for stuff on the inside, apart from that one. Like these ones here, obviously uncovered, but I was just thinking about these ones here, but they are uncovered. So yeah, we'll get that in, screwed on, start welding it on. Obviously we'll use these holes here as places to plug weld it on. Yeah, and like all these holes, we'll plug weld all the holes that we can. I might have to open some of these up as we go. And then weld them in nice and hot. We'll crank her up, burn her in hot over top of the heavy stuff. We'll probably have to run it a little bit lighter, but it shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. But anyway, I'm going to sit down for a minute, take a break. It's getting hot. Well, it's not even that hot, but it's been cool for the last few days, so temperature's come up a bit. It's a bit hot and stuffy. So I'll sit down for 5, and we're waiting on this to dry a wee bit further. And then we'll start welding it in, finally. We might have this in by the end of today, fully. We'll have it at least tacked in. Whether I got it finished welded and cleaned up or not, I don't know, because it is 3 o'clock now. God, it's just all these little things, and was cleaning up and welding, and then seen there was a whole heap of little pinholes in it, so I went back over it again, and yeah. God, just everything seems to take 3 times longer than you think it does. I think, oh yeah, we'll go over that on, frickin' easy by this afternoon, we'll get that other side started. No. I should have learnt by now, but I don't know. Maybe as, you get a few jobs under your belt, you'll find it the quicker ways to do things, or the slightly neater way to do things, and it'll take less time, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'll see you shortly. Righty, so it's the next morning. I was going to get straight into this. I got this burned in last night. Obviously, I just ran out of time to get this on. Yeah, it just took so long to get this finalised and dialed in, and then I forgot that I hadn't put that on. The extra piece of steel out here, I forgot that I hadn't put that on. Put that on and clean it up, and then noticed there's quite a few pinholes and and all the different seams that had been stuffed when re-welded back on it. So I went through and fixed that, and then yeah, it just took a while for the weld through to dry and whatever. So yeah, and then even just getting this back out so it was reasonably smooth. I actually run this in the English wheel a couple of times just through this section just to smooth out any of where the welds sort of were, to get it reasonable. I'm gonna texture undercoat a lot of it, so you're not gonna see it anyway. So it doesn't really matter, and I'll do the same on the inside, like I did with that. Just because it's good sound deadening, even though it's an open top car, but it just helps take any of that sort of tinny noise out of anything. But we'll now get this on. Forgot to fucking put some welds through on the inside of this, so I'll quickly do that. And that'll, while I'm cleaning these welds up, that'll give that a bit of time to dry.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
Obviously, when I've welded this piece on fully, and obviously hammered and dollied it, and I run it through the English wheel and everything, it's pulled in. And now we've got this issue. That's the edge of the guard, the air fender, whatever you want to call it. It should be obviously out about half an inch, because I got that bolt in and I struggled to pull it back out to get that one in. So yeah, it needs, unfortunately, yeah, it's, and I've got a hump in it here. So yeah, I'm going to have to cut and let it go and trying to get that to come out. Yeah, because I thought, oh, we'll get this welded in, or, you know, bolt tacked in and basically welded in there. And then I can, you know, and plug weld it. And then I can drill a hole and put in a riv nut. But, yeah, I ain't doing that at the moment. It's a shame. It's what happens sometimes, though. You know, you think you've got everything right. You know, you've test fitted it a million times, but when you actually go to put the final skin on, you know, we had all this sort of tacked in, screwed in. But also, sometimes when you go to fully weld it, things just move, you know. You know, obviously when I welded this in, it's pulled it in a little bit. Something sucked in somewhere. And it's just pulled it in. So I'm guessing what I'm probably going to have to do is cut it back here again, where I've joined that new patch into the original skin, and then maybe split it, unfortunately, down through here, and let it come out a bit, and weld a piece in there, which is a bit of a pain in the fucking ass. It's not something I really want to do, but what do you do? Like, I'm doing all those. It's kind of what you have to do, you know, to make it work, and just get it to come out, and that'll fix our funny piece. I thought, oh, I might better just go in there and just hammer it out, but later on, but it's obviously pulled in enough that we've got this issue, so we need to fix it. Right, let's pull it back off. Work out what we're going to do to make it right. Right, so hopefully now look at this ruddy gap in here, and you see me bridge that across. It was just to hold it in place. So now what I'll try and do is I'll try and get this patch, or remake part of this patch or something. I might cut this off and remake it. Hi.
Hi, Anthony. This is Julie.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Right, where do we get to? Right, so we have got this piece, I think really close to being back on here, somewhere in amongst here. That gets back on there. Obviously, you know, it can be manipulated a little bit. So now we've got to remake this piece to fit in here, which I've kind of marked out, but not really. So I'm half tempted to just tack this in 2 or 3 spots around here. You know, probably one in here and a couple in here and one up here, sort of type thing, just to get it to hold in the right place, and then work out what shape we want, so I can remake that but have it fit right up into here. And then I'll get a piece to a slither to fit into up till probably about here, and the rest of it I should better fill with a bit of wire after that, you know, until it closes up far enough, and we'll go from there. I think the other thing we've been doing too is the owner, we've just made up a bit of a diesel ATF trans fluid, and we'll just put it down on the plugs, you know, poured, I don't know, I wouldn't say half a glass full, but maybe close to that, you know, just down each plug hole. The plugs come out easy enough and there's oil in it, so it's not a bad sign, but we'll just let it soak just in case the rings are, we don't know how long it's been sitting. It's been a long time, a long time, so I don't know, it could be 20 years, it mightn't be that long, I don't know, but so we're just going to let it soak, and probably next week we might try and at least see if we can get it to rotate. We haven't tried to rotate it, but we're just going to let it soak just anyway, and then we'll see if we can get the motor to turn over by hand or towing it or whatever. Then we'll try and see if we can get it to spray a bit of fuel down the carburetor if we can get if the points and everything are okay, and see if at least it'll fire up. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'm going to go have some lunch. Right, let's see if we can get this fucking thing on this time. Yep, it must be Friday. Did such a nice job of beating it over. The wrong fucking way. Oh, we'll flatten her out, we'll try again. Right. Now they're going to bend it the right way. Along the back end here, after now that I sweep the floor a little bit. We can plate this up here. Mark where I want to cut the excess off. Right, so we're in there now. We're still going to put that filler piece in. But it's all welded on. I haven't ground it off yet, obviously. But I'm going to come back and do it tomorrow, Saturday. I'm going to get that finished and I'll want to get a good start on that. Yeah, it's been an absolute headache trying to get this frickin' sorted. Yeah. I think what happened with the way it was originally, I think, because I did a bit of planishing in here, it must have pulled that panel back in a bit. And when we bolted everything up, because I had to sort of pull it across to get everything to line up. And I didn't think much of it, but yeah, I think it must have sort of sucked itself in when we welded all this in. And it just changed the shape of it a bit. Because like we had bolted up and tech screwed in, but I'm obviously just welding it and then me doing a little bit of, I did a little bit of English wheel on here just to smooth stuff out a little. I didn't roll it through probably half a dozen passes, if that. Just run it across here just to try and take a little bit of lumpiness out of it. Yeah, it must have just changed the way it sat. Didn't think about it. Put it on and then, yeah, obviously just nothing quite lined up. But got the riv nuts, or whatever you want to call it in there, riv nut. So yeah, we'll grind all that off tomorrow. Clean it up, obviously fill any tack welds. When we get up the other way, I'm going to have to do a little bit of hammer and doling. It's probably pulled in a little bit in places. But it should be way better than what it was before. It's a bit of a funny spot in here, but I don't mind a little bit of filler if it has to be that way. I'd rather not have hardly anything, but sometimes you just can't avoid it. Especially, when you've had to do all this work and then come back in, sometimes it's just what it is. A little bit of hammer and doling it, that probably won't be too bad. We'll get the worst of any imperfections and out, and then it'll be probably that thick and the worst of the places, an eighth of an inch or whatever. It's like most things, like at least it's metal. It'll be solid. It'll be all welded in there properly and cleaned up and ground up and whatever. So, we'll get these braces into when it's back up the other way, so I can. Because this one here, and behind here, I think when they've redone this piece at some point earlier on, they've got all that out of shape. So I'll fix that so it goes back in there nicely. Yeah, and then we're just going to make that little piece in the corner, which is kind of what I was hoping to have all cleaned up and done today, but at least we've got it back in. We know that fits. Yeah, so it's cool, and that's through both layers, so hopefully it holds and grips and holds tight and doesn't spin at any point. But maybe when I get it over, I may just put a couple of tacks in behind. We'll just see, just so it doesn't move and turn. But that's pretty cool. By the time we clean up here, and nobody will probably know that it was ever there, but it's nice to try one, see how they work, test them out. It's only going to be the one, I think. The other side should be way better. I'm hoping. I hope. It's been a bit of a fight, but we're getting there. Now we've still got a bit of clean up to do, but we're close. We're a lot closer than we were this morning when we put it on and realised that for some reason shit didn't fit, but it's life sometimes. Anyway, at least I fixed it. A lot of people would have bulged it up and made it fit and then just filled it for the bolly fitter. But yeah, it should be good now. Just got to finish, put that little filler piece in there, and I'll get as much as I can. We might even just use a bit of filler rod up to here, maybe, And then we'll put a little slice in there and fill it up. It's not going to be the prettiest, but shit happens sometimes. Shit happens. And probably what I should actually do is, which I might do, is come along here and actually cut where that other seam is. Cut some of that away. And then it'll be only 2 welds, not 3. We might do that. I'll just put a slightly wider piece in here. It's not too bad up here because it's sort of, the one weld will blend in with the other. It won't be quite so noticeable up till probably here. So by the time I weld that up, that'll probably, but yeah, we might just cut this back here a bit further and just put a slightly bigger piece in. It'll clean it up a little bit. Alright, we'll see you tomorrow. I might spend a whole day down here again, or a chunk of it anyway. I won't do a full 8 hours or anything like that, but I might do a 5 or 6 and see if we can get into that side and at least get it apart and start getting some shit made. Like remake that top piece like we did here, or at least get a handle on it, so we can fucking get this thing turned over Monday or Tuesday, or I don't know, fucking something. I want to get it turned over. But anyway, we'll catch you later on.
Welcome to Iron Outlaws. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.